Welcome once again to Hunter's Entertainment on Twitch.tv. I am Knoxweiler Burf, your game master and guide through the dark and challenging world of survival horror. Tonight, as we do every Tuesday evening, we are playing Outbreak Undead. This game is not for the faint of heart, and I, as your game master, have confirmed consent with each of my players. Our lines and veils have been very firmly drawn, and tonight we have safety protocols in place to assist and protect everyone at the table. We ask for your consent as well, and we encourage you to very closely read the content warnings that are included within our chat. This game offers us all opportunities to explore dark themes and to shine a light on the human condition in the safe confines of our imagination. That takes bravery and the support of every single person here at the table tonight. Not every character that is being played here has the same objective and motivation as the others. Some are working against the other players and are in communication with dangerous outside forces. You see, there are no magic swords to be discovered here, no valiant knights to save you. There are no castle walls to hide behind. The dangers here are far worse than any dragon or magic that one might find elsewhere. These dangers wear the face of a world that died long ago and echo the gasp of a civilization that was slowly withering and dying underneath the weight of itself. And it is in the greatest of darkness that we hope to prove that hope itself burns brightest. I would like to thank both JB Jara and Alex Hillman and the entire Hunters team for helping make this campaign happen. Behind the scenes, they are working tirelessly to ensure that this entire experience is seamless and as perfect as the apocalypse can be. We appreciate their efforts and their endless support. Please sign up tonight for the Scry program if you've not already. It's within our panels below, and you'll then be able to engage directly with the communities of the apocalypse. You'll take on the role of a survivor yourself, and you'll help to divert much-needed resources and goods to where you think they belong. Your choices will be the difference between life and death. The linked settlements within the Rag and Bone universe rely on the safety and security that is brought to them by outside forces. These merchants are the ones who carry forth not only food and clean water, but news from the outside world. Their efforts are essential in maintaining some sense of harmony and balance in a world that has been thrown off kilter. Also, our tireless Undead moderators are in the chat right now, and they're prepared to help you by answering any questions that you may have. They will support your efforts and help you to interact with the Scry program should you choose to do so. As we've seen in previous sessions, your contributions have a direct effect. And tonight is no different. As we have reached our subscription goal once again, the players will be receiving an additional competency point, which may very well be the difference between life and death, their survival and their unlife. If we reach 100 followers or 15 subscriptions before next week, they will earn another competency point. And as we proved in our previous session, should we surpass that goal multiple times in a row, competency points will be added to their total to account for that instance. Please, if you are enjoying this content, continue to make noise for us on social media. Help us to grow and bring more survivors into the fold here at Hunters Entertainment. Join in on our Discord and connect with others who you feel might enjoy this particular brand of Dark Ride. We've worked very hard at it. We are proud of what we're offering you, and we look forward to a future that will include even more surprises and dark turns and twists. Enough of all of that, however. Allow me to introduce to you tonight the players in tonight's Nightmare. Michelle, would you like to say a little bit about yourself, where people can find you on the internet, and just a bit about the character that you're playing?
Sure thing. Hi, everyone. I'm Michelle Wynn Bradley. You can find me everywhere on the internet at I am Chubby Bunny. I am usually here on Tuesdays and starting up some new stuff soon that I can't talk about. But on Saturday, I'm doing a charity show. At I believe it is 5 p.m. Pacific time. I'm not very good with numbers and things. It's a level 20 D&D campaign, and that's going to be on Friends Who Roll Dice, twitch.tv/Friends Who Roll Dice. And you can find that information on my Twitter. I also do videos over on the Total Nerd YouTube channel where I talk about video games and things that don't exist anymore, like Earthworm Jim. It's a whole thing. My character I'm playing tonight is technically Juniper Song, but right now we are in Olive Song territory because I have turned my personality and I am now actively trying to destroy Rowan because I remembered that she tried to blow us up basically and made us get trapped in that tunnel. So sorry, there's going to be a lot of PvP from here on out until I switch back over again. I don't know when that's going to happen though.
It is going to be quite interesting, and I am excited to see how it resolves itself. Markia, would you like to introduce yourself, talk a little bit about the character that you'll be playing, and about where others might find you on the internet?
Hello, everyone. I'm Markia McCarty. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Markia McCarty. It's just my name, or here on Twitch at Darth Markia. As far as things to see me upcoming, on Thursday I'll be playing with Band of Badgers. We'll be doing Rise of the Rune Lords. They are based in the UK, so I'm really excited about that. I think that's just gonna be a fun time. I think that's 1 p.m. PT. I have no idea when that is in the rest of the world. On Friday, I'm going to be talking with my friend Ryan Omega on his show Tarot and Talk. And we're going to be talking about, well, if you're interested in tarot, we're going to be talking about swords, the sword suit, and how it expands across the different kinds of decks. So, what it means, how well it plays with others, type of a deal. So, kind of a tarot 101 and a little bit of like a deep dive in. So, that's going to be fun. And then, of course, on Roll20, on Monday mornings, actually, 8 a.m. PT, you can join us for spooky small town adventures with kids on bikes. And that'll be on twitch.tv/roll20 app. So check that out. And a Kickstarter. Kickstarter exclamation point. Ragnarok is approaching its final weekend, so go ahead and throw some money at your bands there. So it's like, yeah, it's coming around. There's a lot of really fun programming upcoming for that as well. And I'm going to take my marketing manager hat off now and be back into Achira, who has a flesh wound on one of her legs, just got flipped off of a truck that a giant Romero flipped over with its bare hands, and has 2 viral strikes against her right now, and is looking around at all these people like, maybe just leave? Maybe just leave. We'll see.
We shall see indeed. Melee, would you like to introduce yourself and talk a little bit about the character that you are portraying tonight? Before we begin, I need to say very clearly, you look lovely.
Thank you very much. Yes, this is what happens when you give Nox too much risk. I am Melee Damage. You can find me on all the socials at whatever they are, / Melee Damage. I am here every Tuesday. I also have a Patreon where I run a bunch of different games for people. This weekend, you can catch me at Virtual Horror Con doing a couple of things, which will be a lot of fun. And I am very excited to see what is about to happen to my girl Rowan here, who has left off very, very crispy.
She has been grievously wounded by a grenade that has gone awry due to an arrow that has been shot from behind her. I think we're all very interested to see where this goes. I don't want to delay us any further from the outcome of that situation. So, Luis, welcome back. You were missed. You have shaved, I see.
Yeah. This is just temporary. It's already starting to come back. I had to shave for a job last week. This is, just 4 days of growth. So, by next week, it'll be back to Super Saiyan mode. Hi, I'm Luis Carrazzo. I have something that's upcoming that I want to share with everybody. On Friday, I'm going to be guesting on the Eclipse Mothership RPG, which is on twitch.tv/JCVIM. It's Josephine McAdams' Twitch channel. It's a dark sci-fi RPG using the Mothership system. And each week there's they benefit a different mental health nonprofit. So I got to choose this week's, and we're benefiting the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. It's at 7 p.m. Pacific time. So watch what everyone else is doing and like flip back and forth between all it, because I think there's a couple things going on Friday night. Or like if you watch one, then go and watch the VOD of the other. So we're not so we're all getting love. I'm going to be extra needy without my beard too. I'm playing Lampwick, who's not extra needy. He's a little different. He is able to try to tap into the emotional or psychological needs that he perceives somebody else has, and sort of chameleons his way into filling that need. And that's sort of his survival tactic. Although right now he's sitting at the bottom of a pit, scraped up, and at least last we left off, he and Arya, who's with him, who's unconscious, that, as far as I can tell, there's no way out. So we'll see how. It's not a grenade, but it's not looking good either.
It's certainly not an optimal situation to find yourself in. Lampwick is in trouble, to be sure. However, we're very glad that you're with us, and we're looking forward to continuing this story and finding out what lies in store for Lampwick. Additionally, we wish to reward each and every one of you for supporting Rag and Bone over these past few months. We are very, very thankful for all the appreciation and attention that you've given us. So we have two very special gifts that will help make your personal survival a little more bearable as you soldier onward into the unknown. On social media, you can follow the path that has been set before you to share and like our Rag and Bone content throughout all of our platforms. And in return, you will be enrolled in a giveaway for an entire suite of Outbreak digital content. Also, we're enlisting your aid into determining the next chapter of our free Content Friday offerings on DriveThruRPG. And if you haven't already, go to DriveThruRPG and download the absolutely free Rag and Bone Ground Zero supplement that has been released. It will give you an intimate introduction into the world of this campaign, and then you can vote on whether you wish for next month's release to contain the PCs or the guest PCs. Those character sheets will be released based entirely on your determination. Without further ado, we have so much to do. I do not wish to waste any more of our time. We'll be right back. The world ended on Monday, May 29th, 1995. The sky fell, and the dead would not die. Civilization quickly collapsed, and the sickness spread like lightning to even the most remote reaches of the world. They called it many things, but it started out simply as another round of the summer flu. It became something far, far worse. H195, commonly called Legacy or the Reaper's Kiss, was as deadly as it sounded. It seemed to become even more infectious after the poor souls who had caught it passed away. Their bodies festered, and in that festered putrescence from it, the sickness spread even faster. At first, it seemed as though no one was immune to the airborne strain, but eventually, it appeared that 0.01% of the entire population had a natural immunity. However, even those lucky souls couldn't withstand a concentrated introduction of the virus. Through a bite or a deep scratch or blood-on-blood contact from the dead, the virus spread. The end of days were like wildfire, and throughout the world, people sought security and safety where there was none to be had. Entire cities burned, but miraculously, some survived. And for the next 25 years, life has struggled and limped forward. The world now is a fractured place, but some seek to make civilization anew. The Ender's Line, merchants, rag and bone salesfolk, scattered across the many outposts and settlements in what was once known as the Midwestern United States and beyond, make connections between the small outposts and settlements that are linked together by this thin, dying hope. They are a lifeline in a world that now belongs to the dead. There is a shattering vibration, a blaze of bright light. A ball of flame erupts in the middle of this grove. The trees, thin, rail-like, bare fingers that are stretched out over the foggy, moonlit night, catch ablaze. Parts of the dry wood shatter outward with a loud cracking noise. Dirt flies through the air as an enormous cavern is created where the truck once was. Shrapnel fills the air, and there is a tang of steel and blood upon the tips of all of your tongues. Each of you, irregardless of where you were positioned within this valley, have been tossed down hard onto the ground. You are prone, and you have been stunned. Your ears are ringing, and you are very temporarily blinded by the brightness that has flashed before your eyes. The smoking husk of the truck now burns in the center of a deep crevice that has been carved into the base of the ground. Very little else remains there. There is a heavy smoke that filters through the air in that moment. And for perhaps a minute, perhaps longer, all of you struggle to regain your senses. You grasp wildly at the hope that you might be able to focus your eyes, remove the ringing, catch your breath, And then it happens. Acrid air fills your lungs, and you realize, despite everything that has just happened in the moments leading up to this, that you are indeed still alive. You feel pain, all of you. Some more than others. The first thing that I am going to ask happen here is I would like for everyone to make a resist pain check, please. You have 2 black dice of difficulty, and succeeding on this check will be paramount of importance to what happens after that. Juniper has rolled a resist pain, and Rowan has rolled a resist pain. Appropriately, Rowan, you have 5 degrees of failure. Juniper, you have 4 degrees of failure.
I'm sorry, you said 2 difficulty dice?
2 black difficulty dice will be added to your roll. That is 5 degrees of failure for Achira. Do any of you wish to use your newfound competency points to mitigate this failure, or do you wish to accept this loss? Alternatively, as I've offered you in previous sessions, I will purchase some of these degrees of failure and take risk in return. However, given the amount of risk that I have already bought from you, I'm afraid that the prices have changed. Each point of failure that I buy from you tonight will give me 50 risk.
I'm going to use 3 competency points to make it just 1 degree of failure for me.
I'm going to use 3 to make it 2 degrees of failure for me.
Rowan?
Oh, I will use 5 to make it a wash.
Very well. No one wishes to purchase any degrees of failure for risk, I understand. Given that situation, then, the failures here are fairly minor. Your ears continue to ring. If you, I will say, Olive, that you, in the middle of this failure, need to make a composure check.
Any difficulty?
No extra difficulty needed.
Okay.
1 degree of failure. Do you wish to leave it as it is?
I'll leave it.
Very well. So indeed, Olive, you do wake up. You are the one who is still in control here. And as your eyes flutter open, you feel a sharp pain throughout your body. You are scraped, battered, and bruised, but most of it is very superficial. You are covered in 2 inches of dirt, and you are lying face down about 20 feet away from where you were a moment before. There is a broken tree nearby that is smoking, and you see the flame and now hear faint crackling as the ringing persists, but it is starting to ebb and flow away from you, allowing you to hear everything else. Shouts of pain, agony, others who are wounded, shouting out. It echoes faintly in the background. Achira, you are lying face up, and the first thing that you see are these shattered branches above you, like jagged hands reaching down to you. They are flickering with flame, and your ears are not yet clear. You hear nothing but ringing.
June?
Rowan. The mask that you were wearing is no longer upon your face. It is lying perhaps 10 feet away from you, and you see that part of it has been sheared in half and melted by the heat of the blast that you took full on. It is a miracle that you are alive, but alive you are. You feel pain rack through your body. Your right arm is badly burnt. Half of your face, you don't know, but all you feel is a searing hot grasp washed across it, as if fire itself were licking across your eye, your forehead, your right cheek. You've never felt anything quite like this pain before, and you have felt a great deal of pain. In the military, you have suffered any number of stabs and shot wounds, all of which you have recovered from. This is something entirely different, and you know you are burnt. You feel shock working its way across your body, but you do manage to hold tight to your awareness of the world around you, because you know you are not safe. There is an arrow, and you know where that arrow came from. Your left arm is bleeding profusely. There is a large, jagged piece of the truck, metal, a shard, poking out from the flesh, and it's weeping a dark, heavy blood. You know that you need medical attention. But as you breathe in and out, you are thankful that you are alive, and you know that you've been given another chance. Each of you now can tell me your intention.
I want to get up and see where Roan went. And I'm basically just going to start to hunt her.
Very well. I'll need you to make a search check. And due to the fire, the smoke, and the general chaos of the situation, I'm going to instill 3 black dice of difficulty upon this search roll. You will also, you have 1 degree of success. If you can, or I can do it for you, I will have you roll 3 blue speed dice so that we can know when you will be doing that.
Got it. Just do this again.
Achira, what is your intention? I'll allow you to have the second roll as well.
Achira's intention is the truck is shot. Who knows what's going on with the people around and the Romero. It's time to stealth away to get a better idea and to gather her bearings.
I'll have you make a stealth roll. Since there is so much smoke and debris still in the air and so much chaos, I'm not going to impose any difficulty dice. In fact, I'm going to give you a free degree of success to be able to stealth away and hide in all of this mess. However, if you roll multiple degrees of failure, it will cancel that degree of success. I also would ask that you roll 2 blue speed dice. And while you're rolling that, Rowan, what is your intention in this moment?
I am also trying to stealth away back towards the Citadel.
I will have you make a stealth check as well. You will have no difficulty dice added to it. In fact, I will offer you a single degree of success given the amount of debris and smoke that is there. However, you will have to beat Olive's roll here. Very well. So since we have your roll in front of us here, and then we have Achira's roll. So Achira, you have 2 degrees of failure on your stealth roll. You will be adding a single success to that, which brings it down to 1 degree of failure. Do you wish to hold on to that, or is there something else that you would like to do?
Since the environment is chock full of smoke and screams and flying shrapnel, confusion, because this isn't what the location was like before, but it is what it's like starting out now. Is this a location hazard?
It is, in fact, a location hazard.
Then yes, I shall be using 2 competency points to make it 1 degree of success.
With 1 degree of success, you stumble forward. Your leg is causing you to make much more noise than you would like. You drag it behind you, and you feel sharp stings of pain as you pull yourself into the shadows that surround you on the tree line. You continue, and you eventually make your way out of the grove. We'll come back to you, Achira. Meanwhile, Rowan, in all of this smoke and chaos, you manage to somehow pull yourself up. You do have 4 degrees of success, which will defeat the 2 degrees of success that Juniper has for a search, meaning that you are able to slip into the tree line and disappear in all of the smoke and chaos before Olive is able to find you again. And Olive, you are stalking along in the shadows, moving through the smoke and flame with your bow drawn, seeking Rowan. You do not find her. However, you hear something on the outskirts of the tree line. Now, the ringing has slowed, almost disappeared. You hear the rumble of other engines. And you see lights to your left.
I want to jump up into a tree and to avoid them seeing me, but so I can still observe who's coming.
As you begin to seek out a tree, you feel a hand upon your shoulder.
I turn around.
Holding a bloody hand up to his lips, you see Digger. He is covered in soot and motions for you to move back into the trees. He is ragged, and one of his arms is hanging limply to his side, covered in blood.
I follow him for now.
He turns and very silently moves through the rubble and debris. And the 2 of you disappear into the tree line. Lampwick, your head echoes heavily. Everything grows dark for a moment, and then you open your eyes again. The only light that you can see within this hole is so far above you. It's hard for you to gauge exactly how far away the opening is. You don't know how deep into this hole you are. But you feel In the darkness, the heavy, panting breath of Aria Cantos. She was with you when you both fell, led into this trap by one of the wildlings, a filthy, blonde-headed creature named Rain led you here. You thought that you'd found an ally that could lead you back to the Ender's Line, the one known as Yellow Brick. You thought that you might be able to reunite with your allies, the other survivors that you have taken to traveling with. You found some comfort in that number. However, now you're uncertain that you will live to see anything else beyond this dark, dank hole. And after having emerged from the Grey Ridge wreckage so recently, being underground is the last place that you want to be. You were trapped in a mine shaft for 3 weeks with a rotting corpse and a group of allies that you didn't fully trust. Aria was one of those allies and has been traveling with you now for some time. You had just barely managed to talk your way out of certain death. Execution at the hand of those who had once spearheaded the survival movement at Grey Ridge. There was a doctor among their number, Maria Espinosa. She held the secret to making and manufacturing penicillin. Antibiotics are better than gold out here in the wild, and she was able to make it. Your very own Rumpelstiltskin. And now, she's dead. Dead by the hand of Juniper Song. She snapped the doctor's neck in front of you. The strange video collector, Rag and Bone, known as Kusanagi, had warned her of the doctor. Warned her so often and so loudly that it seems that Juniper decided that no matter what, the doctor had to die. But now you know Juniper's secret. You know that Juniper isn't alone. There's someone else that travels with her. And now, having seen what this Rain has done to you and Aria, you have garnered another first-hand account of how the wild children of the apocalypse operate. What they'll do to strangers. But if it were just Rain, perhaps this situation wouldn't be quite as desperate as it is. For whatever reason, Rain was not alone. Someone else has appeared before you. You heard their song first, their humming, and you recognized it. And then you heard the voice. There is indeed a special providence in the fall of a sparrow.
I raise my hands up and I sing. Oh, children of the valley, walking hand in hand. My brother, it appears we finally found home.
My heart rejoices, brother. It is rare to find one of faith in these dark times, in these dark places of this land. And hearing your song and your acceptance of the prophet's words, it brings great joy to my heart this night.
As it brings great joy to my heart to finally find you. We have much to share.
Yes, indeed, we do. Much to share. Amen to that, Brother Lampwick. I am glad to have found you. I have been following you now for so long, and I have known that the serpent's tongue is indeed forked. But to see it here myself, I consider it a blessing. Yes, sir. Brother Lampwick, we have great plans for you. Sister Aria is with you, is she not?
She is indeed. She's right here. We knew that we would be tested, and we knew that we needed to trust before trust can be returned. We have seen the light. We've encountered the woman, an older woman who sang the song. It was the first time I heard it. She was traveling with a sick fellow, and I was suspicious at first. But time alone and time, just time itself, has started to open my eyes to what the world really is, and who I no longer wish to be, and who I hope I can become.
Lampwick, I would like very much for you to make a persuasion roll with your persuade skill.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to impose any levels of difficulty dice here. However, I wish you well on this roll.
You and me both. And that would be 5 successes.
5 successes on your persuade roll. Brother Lampwick, we have much to rejoice in this night. It is truly the hand of the prophet that has guided us together. The radio communications that were scattered across this land were far from simple to track down. It was our fear that you might have been lost. But lo, you have found yourself here. This is providence, and it shall not be put to waste.
My brother, I was lost. But not anymore. And I hope you can help us find this new way.
Mother Hodge's song has worked its way into your heart, and there it has taken root.
Were you near Grey Ridge? Have you heard the stories of what happened there?
We know much, and the stories of Grey Ridge have been made known to us, yes.
There's a lot of evil and darkness. More than just what one might see in plain sight. There's a lot that's hiding right underneath the surface. And I saw it firsthand there. And I believe there are a chosen number of people that can help guide what remains of humanity out of the darkness.
Brother, you are more right than you know. However, as you said, you and I are very much alike. And I once was like you, a foul sinner, walking through this world without a path, without the clear hand of the prophet Malachi to guide me. I had made mistakes. I was a foul man, a liar, an adulterer, a cheat and a swindle. I fornicated and I killed. But now, I have found the way. And though the serpent's tongue of Satan has licked its way through my soul, I have persevered. And in that perseverance, brother, I shall guide you on that righteous pathway. Do you accept the love of the prophet Malachi?
I accept.
Then hold your arms out and receive his joy.
I accept. I accept. I accept.
The man above the pit disappears for a moment. And then he returns. Held before him is a ragged Romero. Its jaw has been broken off. Its desiccated skin filled with boils and pockmarks. And on its forehead, though it is dark, you see clearly a strange glyph carved into it. This man, this shadow, appears, hand on the back of its neck, standing there over your pit, holding this Romero forth. And you see in his other hand an enormous jagged blade. What do you do?
I will surrender to the light and do as you deem necessary. Guide me. What is your will? What is your wish?
You have already proven yourself willing and worthy, and that is a great blessing upon all of us. The shepherds accept you. They will take you into their holy flock. And together, we shall cleanse these lands and bring forth the final wrath. We will make his word law. And the blade cuts into the Romero's chest. And blood and gore and viscera begins raining down upon you. Oh, children of the valley, walking hand in hand. Oh, children of the valley, walking across this land.
I join him.
And he continues to sing as this torrent of thick black blood rains down into the pit.
I bow my head in a gesture of like humbleness, but I am trying to keep the liquid from entering my eyes or my nose or my mouth. I keep my arms up as I sing.
Both of you, your voices ring out, and you try to follow along with him. And there are verses that you have never heard before as this continues to pour over you. I will say that I need you to make a roll for me. I'm going to call it a first aid roll. And in that roll, you're going to prevent any of this bile from entering into any of your orifices, your eyes, your nose, your ears. So you will try to keep yourself somewhat clear in this moment.
Whew.
2 degrees of success. All right. Now I am going to make a roll. You are covered in this thick, disgusting miasma. And underneath your shirt, you feel things crawling, moving against your skin. The man that was standing above you, you don't think that he sees you. It is very dark at the bottom of the pit, and he has not brought any light to shine down upon it. So any action that you take here, it seems as if he's not aware of your movements. However, you are now fully covered in all of this, and you only need to mark a single viral on your sheet.
Got it.
However, Arya sputters next to you. You have protected yourself, but you have failed to do anything for her. And as this gore has rained down, her head was facing upward. Unable to defend herself, she is now covered in this thick wetness, and you have lost track of what is hers and what is from this Romero. You remember that she has a wound on the back of her head. You don't think that there would be much else that you could do for her at this point, but the assumption is that she has been thoroughly soaked in this gore.
Is there no one watching us? Have they moved away?
You don't see anyone else. And then two figures appear. They are wearing strange, white, featureless masks. They seem to be made of metal, and there are very, very, very fine slits where the eyes should be, but you see nothing else but their wrapped forms. Dark, heavy wraps. One of them pulls the pin on something and drops it into the hole.
I move to the opposite. Do I see where it lands?
You hear it first, and it clatters to the bottom, hitting the side. You don't know exactly where it lands. I will allow you to make a spot listen check.
Okay. Are these figures different from the people that I was just talking to?
You've never seen anything like this before. It is a featureless white mask and an individual who is wrapped in dark black clothing. Two of them. They look identical. Spot listen, you have 2 degrees of success. You think you know where it is.
I'm gonna head to where I think it is, and if I can grab it, I'm gonna throw it at them.
You're going to attempt to grab this item and throw it out of the pit. Very well.
Do I recognize it as an explosive as I grab it?
I'm sorry, you don't know what it is. It was a metal canister of some sort. There was a pin pulled out of it. You saw it drop down into the bottom of the pit.
Yeah, I gotta throw that out.
So you jump towards it and you grab for it. I'm going to have you... The first thing that I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to test your ability to grab it and throw it. So go ahead and just make a throw check, but I'm going to implement 2 black dice of difficulty, given the fact that you don't know exactly where it is, and you're going to have to move across the pit. Also, roll me 2 blue speed dice as well, so that I can know when this is going to happen.
How big is this pit? I mean, in my imagination, I'm imagining something that isn't big enough so that I can like go on the opposite end and sort of find cover if this is indeed an explosive. Am I inaccurate in my assessment?
No, it can't be more than you're not certain of the exact dimensions, but it can't be more than 10 feet diameter. It's enough space for you and Arya to uncomfortably lie on the floor together. In fact, that's part of the reason that you're so beat up. But it's not quite small enough for you to be able to hold on to the sides at the same time. You can't touch one wall and the other.
Got it.
But it is you are able to leap very quickly downward and grab onto this thing if you make your throw. That is 5 degrees of failure, Lampwick. How many competency points do you currently have?
I have 6. 666. Can I ascertain in this moment before I throw it if it's an explosive?
You can make... I'm going to give this to you. How many are you spending here? All 6?
I'm going to spend all 6.
So you have 1 degree of success?
Mm-hmm.
So with 1 degree of success, this is how this is going to work. You grab onto it and you're able to throw it. However, you are not able to throw it before it starts spewing gas. And immediately the bottom of the pit is filled with a heavy, noxious cloud. Do you still throw it?
I mean, I've already spent my competency points, right?
I mean, you have no competency points left.
Yeah, I throw it. I don't want this noxious gas in here. Get this out of here.
Okay, so you do throw it. You only have 1 degree of success. That is not enough to get it completely out of the pit, but it is enough to get it away from you. So you throw it upward, and it lodges itself on the side of the pit for a moment, and it continues to spew gas out. The figures have disappeared. You don't see anything else, but there's just enough gas that is filtering around the bottom of this pit that I need you to make an endurance check with 2 black dice of difficulty.
Right. Phew.
With 1 degree of success, you feel your head begin to spin, and you feel immediately woozy. You feel as if you might pass out, and you stumble. However, you remain upright. What would you like to do?
I would like to pretend to pass out.
You lie down on the bottom of the pit and fight the urge to actually pass out. It is not easy, but you do withstand that temptation. You manage to hold on to your consciousness as that gas lingers and eventually begins dissipating. You can see above you now some blanket or some sort of structure has been put over the pit. And as that gas begins to disperse, while still conscious, you finally see the moonlight again as it is peeled backward.
I'm playing. I'm pretending to be unconscious, but I'm kind of trying to stay aware of who might be moving around or talking up there.
You don't hear any talking whatsoever. However, the 2 individuals in those white featureless masks appear at the edge of the pit again, and they drop ropes down, and they begin descending into the pit. What is your intention?
I'm still pretending to be unconscious. There's 2 of them?
There is 2 of them. I'd like for you to make a stealth check, please. I will, in fact, give you 1 degree of success to start with, given how dark it is and how long you've been in the pit to prepare yourself for this moment. But there are also 2 blue dice of speed that I need you to roll as well.
All right.
That is 5 degrees of failure. And even with the single degree of success that you have,
Pretty bad.
it's catastrophic, in fact. Despite your best intentions, some of the smoke still lingers here, and you begin coughing, struggling to hold the cough back. You lose sight of the 2 figures that are climbing down.
Oh, crap. There's 2 of them.
They continue down. However, now you see they're holding these short, glossy sticks of some sort. It's so dark, you're not certain what they are. But each of them seem to be armed as they descend the rest of the way down the pit. There is no space, nowhere to go anywhere. Both of them land. What would you like to do? They're standing above you and Arya.
I mean, look, I can't take 2 people out. Shit. I'm going to continue to pretend, even though I coughed, I'm going to continue to pretend that I'm more affected by the smoke than I am. And I'm kind of like half conscious.
You feel leather gloves on your face as they turn it from side to side, and then you feel 2 fingers up against your throat, feeling for your pulse.
I just roll with it. I don't resist it.
The first thing that happens is you feel your hands gathered together, and then you hear the sound of plastic zip ties as they are wrapped around your arms and you are bound at the wrist. The same happens to your ankles.
I'm just rolling with it. In my mind, if I resist, they're going to kill me, and I can't take 2 of them out.
You feel the rope work its way around your chest, underneath your arms, and then the individual, you hear them tying the knot, and they do so very quickly with a great amount of skill. Then there is a tug on the rope, and you feel yourself being pulled out of the pit.
By somebody else.
Someone above.
Mm-hmm. I let myself get pulled up.
You're being dragged and you're airborne, dangling there on the string inside of this pit. Are your eyes still closed?
I'm going to like kind of sort of sneak a half open kind of thing as I go up.
You see the shadow of Arya rising up below you, tied in the same way that you are. And as she starts to be pulled into the moonlight, you see that she is covered in gore, completely drenched in a thick, black, viscous fluid. And now you see yourself also covered in this black bile. You're dragged from the pit, and you're now lying in the dry leaves, staring upward, the trees above you. Somewhere nearby, torchlight flickers.
Can I tell how many people are around me?
It depends on how much you're willing to risk being seen.
I'm going to try to just hear, try to ascertain how many people there might be based on the rustling of the leaves and maybe I hear a noise to my right, maybe another one to my left, maybe another one further away. Try to kind of get a sense. 1, more than 2, but I'm not going to try to give myself away by opening my eyes and looking around.
Make a spot listen check. I'm giving you 2 black dice of difficulty here.
Got it.
1 degree of failure. You have no competency. I could sell you some removal of that degree of failure, but it would still be a failure. You have nothing to change it into a success.
The difficulty dice is what made it a failure. It would have been a success otherwise.
I'm certain that it might have been. It's unfortunate. However, the situation that you are in is quite fraught with peril. I don't understand exactly how you would be able to hear beyond everything happening around you. There's a creaking of a rope, and that is what you really hear more than anything. You do hear something else, though. There is a smell, a horrid, rotten stench. Something nearby turns your stomach.
Frickin' A. Can I tell what direction it's in? My left or right?
Unfortunately, you failed your spot listen. You only know that it's somewhere nearby.
I'm going to track that noise, and I'm going to focus on it so I can tell if it's starting to get closer to me or not.
Lampwick, you don't know if it's getting closer to you. As I said, you failed your roll. However, I'm feeling generous. You do realize something else. Wherever that thing is, it's the one pulling the ropes.
Okay.
Meanwhile, in the outskirts of the grove, as the fire burns around you, the remains of the truck are a jagged, metallic skeleton jolting out of white-hot flames that lick across this place. The dead leaves and the dried wood have begun to burn, and the cold crispness in the air and the fog are supplemented with the heavy smokes from the fire and the diesel fuel that has been burnt off this night. Your conflict, your fight with that abomination has made a great deal of noise. There is an enormous fire here in the middle of the forest now. The Ender's line, the yellow brick, isn't too far. But that isn't your first concern. Each of you has chosen to sneak away, to move back into the darkness, to escape. But there are more lights. There is the old rumble of makeshift vehicles that have been heavily modified, altered so that they are more fitting for this world that you now live within. Old military vehicles that have been reconstructed. You see, the members of the Citadel were not traveling alone. And as soon as that fireball shot into the sky, the rest of the unit that had traveled forth alongside Rowan immediately knew where to go. And there are bright lights and rumbling vehicles off to one side, blocking off any entrance to the yellow brick. There are vehicles, individuals with automatic weapons and a heavy presence scouring the area. Two of you I know most likely don't want to be found. Rowan, I will ask you. You recognize some of the rumbling of those vehicles. You recognize it. The VHS camcorder that you had recorded that thing saying Achira's name is long gone. Most of your equipment has been destroyed, burnt in the explosion, shattered and destroyed. However, not everything in that grove is gone. There are scattered remains. If you wish to spend some survival points, I will allow you to find something in that rubble that you might be able to use as a weapon.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm actually just gonna stay hidden until they sound like they're a little closer, and I'm gonna try and edge myself as quietly as I can towards the rumbling that I recognize, kind of crawling, full-out army crawl in the dirt.
You feel dirt, debris, and leaves press into your flesh, and the pain intensifies as you feel that dirt rubbing into the open, weeping wound that has become your face and right arm. This filth is now sticking to your body. Along the side of your head, you now know that most of your hair has been burnt off and you believe you are missing an entire ear. You can still hear, it seems, because the ringing is still quite present. But you feel this dusting of debris work its way as your hair mats across the ruined pits of your skin, what skin is left there. I need you to make a second resist pain, please. That is 2 degrees of failure, and you have no further competency points. Is that correct?
Oh no, I still have a bunch of competency points left. I will use 2 of them again to make it a wash.
A wash is still a failure. If you want, I could sell you a removal of one of those, and you could spend competency to make it a success. But the choice is yours. It would be 50 risk that I would earn in doing that.
I don't trust you. All right, I'll spend 3 competency points and make it a success.
Indeed. I already have spent a large number of competency points tonight. I don't know exactly if you want to give me more. You pull yourself forward. You bite back the pain that almost knocks you out. And hiding behind a tree, you catch your breath, lying low and waiting for the rumble of those engines, the lights, and the footfall of the unit, the Citadel members moving closer to you. Eventually, you do hear them. They begin searching the area. You recognize voices. You hear Inez and Flapjack. I don't know where, but we're going to find them. That just went foobar. Shh. Something's over here. I can tell. Got it. What the hell? What is that smell? Shh.
I tried to ever so slightly whistle like a bird, which I might have done once or twice when we're trying not to get caught. Just a quick little...
You whistle and you hear both Inez and Flapjack stop, and everything becomes very quiet. Footfall, very quiet, careful. You see Flapjack, who has a braided beard, no mustache, and a tattoo across one side of his face. It looks like the blade of a knife running across one eye. He's greasy and rail thin, but he looks down at you and then motions over to someone else. And you see Inez, very young, but she's smart. You know her from the Citadel, one of the recruits, somebody that you had a lot of hope for, somebody who's shown a lot of prowess, good with a gun. Not wild like many her age. She had parents that raised her. Unfortunately, you had to kill them. She doesn't know that. Both of them look down at you. Oh, you're alive. Oh my God.
Yeah, shh, get down. Stay low. Look, you gotta get me back. I am in no fighting condition at this point anymore.
No shit, Sherlock. How are you fucking alive?
Yeah, it's a long story, but if you see that crazy bitch with that cut down the side of her face, she's the fucker that killed the doctor too, and she's the one that put this arrow through me. You get all your men on her right now. She does not leave this forest alive.
You got it, boss. We'll salt the earth. And Inez turns and takes one of the makeshift radios that you and your crew use and begins talking into it using a series of beeps from one side, Morse code, transmissioning out to the nearby area. She slips away as Flapjack carefully reaches under you and tries to help you to your feet.
Hey, Flap, there's one thing that you should probably tell him. I was talking with Riggs, and he said he didn't believe that we saw some Romeros that could talk. We have. That's a thing. I was trying to film it, caught one. Recorder's gone. I think. Tried my hardest. But that fucker was huge.
All right, yeah, you shouldn't worry about any of that right now, boss. Let's just get you to a med like now. Is there here? Stumble is reaching into his jacket and pulls forth a small bottle and pulls a cork out of it and hands it to you. Kind of puts it up to your mouth, and it's the most harsh moonshine you could imagine, and it funnels down your throat very quickly.
Oh, okay, that feels a little bit better. Maybe. Nope, I don't got anything left in me. Nope, I'm still gonna have to go back. But a couple of these cuts, if you see them, you think that'll help? Maybe disinfectors are too many. I haven't really seen myself.
I can do that for you, boss, but it's gonna hurt something awful.
I already hurt something awful.
All right, this is real strong stuff. So just brace yourself. Hold on, and he pulls his belt off, and then hands it to you to bite on. And then he douses you in moonshine, and I need you to make a resist pain with 4 black dice of difficulty added to it. Surprisingly, only 1 degree of failure. Is there anything that you wish to do about that?
No, I feel like she took that like a tough girl, like a champ with only 1 degree of failure, and that's probably accurate.
You do not, in fact, pass out. However, you do feel that Flapjack has just disinfected your wounds in the field in a way that is going to be beneficial to you not either becoming infected or carrying a viral point, which you would have had you not cleaned yourself before moving forward. Do you have any viral now?
I do not.
Then you will emerge from this encounter without any. However, you are in an immense amount of pain, and you have been doused in white hot flame. You are drenched. Flapjack helps you forward. The man is in awe, shocked that you're still standing or conscious or even able to form words. You realize that your leather jacket has been burnt away, and that across one side of your body, bare flesh, boiled and burnt, is exposed. That was the closest call that you will probably ever have. And you very nearly died.
She just kind of, has he like moved her to a truck or anything? Or are they just kind of standing out in the open?
He is working as hard as he can to march you across the field back towards the rail tracks to where many of the vehicles are currently stationed. As the two of you get a little closer, more individuals show up holding weaponry and lights. It seems that the entire division that was brought out here to the outskirts has been brought to this mark at this point. All of them have rallied around the explosion, and now many of them are moving towards you. But before we go any further, I need to explore what's happening with our other two survivors in this scene. I'm going to start with you, Achira.
Did you see the message I sent you? It might be past by now, but
No, I don't know if that's possible. I need you to make a search check with 2 black dice of difficulty, and we'll see if you're able to do that.
recon gear?
Yep, you can definitely use your recon gear. Achira, when you pull back into the tree line, there is a heavy cloud of smoke that covers everything, and the burning fire in the center of this grove. Your campsite is scattered to the far winds. There are blankets and the rest of the packs scattered and covered in dirt all around. There's an enormous crater in the center where that abomination was. You don't see its corpse any longer. In fact, in the flames, you don't think that it would be possible to see much of anything in that area. Certainly, that explosion removed the rest of it from existence. You didn't see where Rowan fell. In fact, given the situation, it's probably easy to assume that Rowan did not make it out of that explosion. However, you have 1 degree of failure on your search. Is there anything that you would like to do to change that?
No, it seems like I don't know where the corpse is. I don't know where Rowan is. I called out for June. Nobody answered. Yeah.
So, what does Achira do in this moment as the fire burns and the wreckage of your campsite lies behind you?
Well then, Achira would make one last attempt to connect our find Digger. For instance, Digger, Juniper, and Achira were heading towards a destination. Reason would stand that that's still the place to go. So Achira would then move forward away from all of this noise towards that destination and then just figure it out from there.
Very well. You know that originally the plan was to move down the yellow brick, the Ender's line. The station that you and the others were desperately trying to make your way to was Safe House 42. It was 30 miles away. You had traveled about half a day. You're uncertain as to exactly how much further you have to go at this point, but you do know that Safe House 42 was the destination.
Oh, well, Achira does not know these group of people that have come up. And the person that was our connection with them is probably dead, Rowan. So Achira's then going to head towards 42. If along the way Digger and Juniper turn up, then great, but that's what she knows right now.
You do know that that will be an area that will be prepared for you by the Ender's Line. 10-4 has promised to have communications ready there and to guide you on further once you reach that safe house. That was the last radio communication that you had. That large luggage case that you had carried the radio in is nowhere to be seen. You aren't certain where it is. However, you do recall the directions that both you, Digger, and Juniper had spoken about. You know generally how to make your way to Safe House 42. I will ask you, however, to make a navigation check. And as it is night, I will impose a single black die upon you when you make that roll.
Before she sets out, is it a possibility to look to see if Achira sees any? I doubt that they would have come with, like, I don't know, a little medical cart or something, like someone in a Jeep who's a nerd with a Red Cross on them or something like that. If there might be something like that before she heads out. Like, she's done first aid on herself and she can again. But it would be great to snag some supplies before heading out.
As you start to make your way, first of all, make that navigation check. It doesn't mean that you've moved your way through. It just means that you're catching your bearings and trying to understand which way you need to go. So once you make that check, I'll describe to you what you witness.
You said one black dice?
A single black die of difficulty, given that you're doing this in the middle of the night after breaking free of this encounter. That is 1 degree of success, which is indeed a success. You do know, Achira, generally how to get there. You believe that the way is going to be difficult, and you're a little unsure of some of the details once you get further down the road, but you are certain of one thing. For the next 20 miles or so, you need to head down this rail path, after which you can sort the rest out. The Ender's Line is fraught with signs, signals, small clues that have been left behind so that other Rag and Bone can find their way, even if they're not affiliated with the Ender's Line. These things are not obscured in a way to prevent others who seek safety from finding it. Their greatest secrets, however, they guard very closely. So you know the way, and as you begin assessing the area from your hiding point, the flickering flames still crackling behind you in that crater that once held your campsite, the lights and the engines and the rumbling of the other unit appear on the railway behind you, coming back from the destination that you had traveled from, down the pathway that you had already walked. And you see at least 6 vehicles and at least 20 people, armed, some with lights, some with lanterns, some with torches, moving carefully forward. And you do see crates and other supplies on the flat beds of some of these converted trucks. It seems that this group, while they have been out, have been collecting supplies, perhaps, or maybe they have been gathering tariffs that are owed to them. Either way, this group from the Citadel is well stocked.
And I could see there. Okay, so there definitely is further supplies there. It doesn't look like they have any kind of medical person around them. Usually, like maybe someone who's wearing a disposable mask or a lab coat. How do they how would they differentiate someone who doesn't hold their bearing as well with their gun as somebody else as the rest of them? I'm just the intention here is to, well, I guess you know what? I guess this is just a little bit too complicated.
You can
It's
make
probably just to,
you could make a detect motives if you chose to try to read the group in front of you.
yeah, let's do a detect motives and see where where that where that takes us. Because I'm realizing that it's probably best to just get out of Dodge. This is a lot right now, and it's a
There
lot of,
are a lot of them, yes. And they are well armed and well supplied.
yeah.
That's a single degree of failure, which means that you really can't determine any sort of occupational differences between the people in front of you. What you do spot is that they all seem to be moving with a certain amount of determination and military practice, and they seem dangerous.
Mm. Yeah. You know what? No. No, we're good. No, we're good. Achira's gonna head out.
All right. You begin making your way away from this group, correct? Heading down the Ender's line or nearby it.
Yes. When or if she comes to a pause point, she's gonna keep on doing first aid checks on herself as much as possible with the limited supplies that she had on her.
Your supplies are dwindling. I will have you start rolling a depletion die every time that you use them. And so let's start, however, with a spot listen as you begin moving away from the vehicles on the Ender's line rail. With 1 degree of success, do you wish to alter that in any way?
Mm.
It is
I'll
a
use,
success, it's just not a good success.
I'll use one to make it 2 degrees of success.
With 2 degrees of success, you hear it 20 feet in front of you rather than 10. You're carefully moving amongst the trees, keeping a close eye on all the activity behind you. And perhaps it was the rumbling of the vehicles, the engines. As old as they are, they burn a heavy biodiesel that has been made by the Citadel. They rattle and shake loudly. They've all been heavily modified and have many welded plates upon them, and all of that metal creates quite a racket when they travel. However, you don't believe that the Citadel is very concerned with making themselves quiet. They want to be imposing. They want people to know that they're coming, and they want anyone who hears their approach to fear them. All of this is going through your mind as the ringing in your ears persists and is slowly fading away. But there in the darkness, some way ahead of you, Achira, you see shadows, quite a few of them, moving through the tree line, and then your eyes move across the rail line, and you see a massive horde of Romero. We're going to take a short break, and when we return, we will resolve these situations and see where our survivors end up, and if any of them make it out alive. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Hunter's Entertainment at twitch.tv. My name is Noxweiler Burf, and I am your game master here for Outbreak Rag and Bone. Tonight, we have explored the dark edge of a world that is crumbling beneath its own feet. We are hoping that these survivors are able to grasp onto some thin hope and pull themselves forward out of the wreckage of what was once a peaceful and calm place. However, all of them are being challenged tonight, and we will see if they can persevere, if they can find their way out, and if they can rediscover the light, not only in the world around them, but perhaps within themselves. There is a crumple of leaves, very quiet in the distance. The very nondescript, ragged man in front of you stops, Olive. He looks to you and silently communicates with his eyes. It is clear he is listening to the world around him. I would like for you to make a spot listen check.
Okay.
That is 2 degrees of success. Do you wish to alter that in any way?
I think I'm good here for now.
With 2 degrees of success, you do hear footfalls around you. Other individuals who are not as good as you are, not as good as Digger in front of you. They don't understand the wild places. They don't know how to move through the world without making noise, drawing attention to themselves. They are careful, but they're not careful enough. Figures off towards the rail line. You see the lights. You've heard the rumble of the engines. But now you have pinpointed a number of them sweeping through the forest behind you. What would you like to do? What is your intention here, Olive?
I'd like to move ahead faster, but while still being stealthy, and motion to Digger that we're getting out of here.
Very well. You make a motion to Digger. Digger nods. Which direction do you go? Do you go deeper into the forest, or do you move back towards the rail line?
Deeper into the forest, because I know people are heading towards the rail line.
You carefully start picking your way through the tree line. There are dried leaves and underbrush everywhere. However, you and Digger are both creatures of the wild. You know how to move through these places without causing much distraction or any sort of attention being drawn to you. You carefully pick your way forward, and as you do, I'll have you make a stealth check, please. Single degree of failure.
I'm gonna go ahead and use 2 competency points to make it a success.
All right. So with a single success, you move forward, moving into the forest. Darker and darker it is as you begin to descend down a small slope. It is at that point that you hear something else. stumbling, rough movement, bad, rough, jumbled steps. You immediately recognize them as the dead. Romeros are shuffling along deeper in the forest in the direction that you're headed. You hear you don't know how many there are, but there is a lot of them. It is certainly a horde. And you see these jagged figures off in the distance. You see Digger raise his hand up, and both of you have stopped.
I'm going to look down on the ground for a rock or something heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to throw it in the direction that we are not going to run in to try to distract them to make them go towards a different area while we peel off to the other side.
Fair enough. You're going to create a distraction. Digger looks to you. Presses a hand against the rock and then shakes his head no. He points upward.
Time to climb some trees. I keep the rock in my pocket just in case for later, and we climb a tree.
All right. If you'd like to climb a tree, all I need you to do is make a lift pull. And I will give you 1 degree of success right off the bat.
What if I rolled climb instead and get an advantage with my climbing gear?
Absolutely. You can do
There we
that.
go. Okay.
So you have 3 degrees of success in total. You very easily pull yourself up into the tree, and Digger very carefully moves behind you and does so silently. And he's very average in build. He has a very matted beard. He has not cared for his appearance, but he doesn't seem completely uncared for. He's definitely a stranger to anyone he meets and has a very ragged appearance, but it's not monstrous or entirely without thought. He just seems very nondescript, like he could disappear at any moment and you would forget exactly what he looked like. But that man, Digger, his face is smeared with soot and blood, pulls himself up into a tree across from you, not the same tree, and makes himself comfortable and just sits and watches. Do you do the same?
Can I still hear the people who were trying to follow us behind us?
Yes. You hear individuals and you see lights off in the distance. It seems that they're performing a perimeter sweep.
I decide to stay where I am because that's where it's safest, is in this tree until they leave or get eaten.
Very well. You are positioned within this tree. You are secure and you are away from prying eyes. And the dead begin to move and rustle throughout that tree line. You see them shambling forward. breaking into the grove and closer, and there are individuals behind you that are moving across with their lights and their weapons, and you see that the two are inevitably on a collision course with one another. It is only a matter of time. The dead, hearing them stumbling forward in the tree line, begin moving in droves towards them. Digger, looking very sternly across to you, continues to hold his finger up to his lips and patiently waits. Is there anything else that you wish to do?
Just in case, I want to take out my bow and arrow and just lay it on my lap so it's ready.
I would like for you to make a composure check as you are sitting calmly inside of this tree. 5
Apparently
degrees
not.
of failure. Is there anything that you wish to do with the 5 degrees of failure?
I can't really. I only got 1 competency point left, and it's not gonna do too much. So I take it.
Juniper, you're in a tree. You're covered in blood. There is ash on your face. You have no idea how you got here. It's happened again. You've blacked out.
I look around if I had to look for people or anything around me.
Make a spot listen check with 2 black dice of difficulty. Or a search, if you would like.
Ooh, let's do search. That's a lot better for me. Okay. I am back to my original competency points, so I'm gonna go ahead and buy that off for 2.
Okay, so you spend 2 competency points now that you're back with Juniper. You have a fresh pool. However, you only have 4, correct?
I still have 6, says her.
Okay, so you have now 4 as you spend, or you still have 6, or you still, okay, yeah.
4 after.
So you have 4 competency points now. And you have spent 2 to make that a success. You're looking around and you almost miss him, but you see Digger in the tree across from you. Hold on, let me sense motives. He looks worried.
I look down.
There are the first of a few Romeros stumbling forward. And then there are about 5 of them below the trees, and you see an enormous horde of them a little ways beyond that. Your bow and your arrow are on your lap.
I hold on to them very tightly, and I try to be quiet.
Very well. Juniper, I would like for you to make a stealth check, please. I will offer no dice of difficulty added to this, and you can make the roll straight if you choose. 1 degree of success is enough to remain quiet. The horde begins intensifying beneath you. They shamble and stumble slowly with a low, very whispery groan. They're not as loud as they normally are. You've seen your share of hordes. You've seen the Romeros grouped together, and if you get enough of them in one place, they tend to make a great deal of noise. These are somewhat quiet. And they break their way through the undergrowth. They step carefully and slowly. They still stumble into one another from time to time, and they move like broken rag dolls, but there is a care to their movement that you're unfamiliar with. And Digger is watching very closely. And then, Juniper, in the distance, you see lights. You see a fire not too far away that's blazing in the middle of this forest. And you realize that you're covered in small cuts and bruises, and your whole body is sore. What is your intention?
This all seems real bad. Can I just... I'm just gonna stay still and wait to see what happens see if they will... I guess I'd like to observe to see if there is a certain amount of time I can guesstimate when they will finish walking past me and be gone or not.
You're hoping to see if they're going to move beyond you. I'll allow you to make a sense motive check.
Okay.
Or detect motive.
Yes.
You think that as long as you remain here, and as long as there's something louder further down in the forest, you will be safe here.
Cool. I'm gonna stay here, and sucks for these other people. I'm not gonna help them.
All right, so be it. You stay in the tree. Digger is across from you in the other tree. And the two of you carefully observe this horde of Romeros as they stumble roughly through the forest, quietly pushing forward. Soon, the swell of the dead is more than you can count, and a sea of them are swarming beneath you. You haven't seen this many dead since Grey Ridge fell. Rowan, your body is pulled onto the back of one of the altered pickup trucks, and Flapjack is talking very fiercely to a number of the Citadel Guard that are with you now. You were in charge of this detail. You're the ranking officer in charge. However, there are other individuals that can help to fill in the gaps. A figure comes up to you. A very severe, older gentleman. He pulls his gas mask off, and you see his patchy beard that has been ruined through the scars that are wrought across the lower half of his face. He, like so many within the Citadel, have been in the middle of this shit before. And so many of these scars that they carry are not scars that they earned after the world ended. They are scars that they carried in the world before. Many within the Citadel have some form of military training. This is Isaiah. And Isaiah looks at you with a sympathetic eye, but also with a great deal of respect. All right, this is how it's going to go. You're not going to move. I'm going to take care of you, but the first thing I've got to do is I've got to cut this jacket off of you. This leather is fused with your flesh. We don't want to travel with that.
I mean, it could be a good look.
We'll stitch it back together. You can save what you want later, okay? Stop being a tough ass.
My
I
skin
need you
or
to
the
focus.
jacket?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I need you to focus. Look at me. He kind of like pats your face.
Uh-huh.
I need you to stay awake. You with me?
I think.
All right. So the others are talking with Flapjack, and we got a little bit of the intel about the situation. What are you able to say right now? Hold on. Let me get Boom Boom Becky over here. Boom Boom, come here. Another of the recruits shows up. Her name is Boom Boom, and she earned that name when she proved to be especially good at demolitions. She shows up and she looks down, and it takes a step back. Yeah, that's really helping, Boom Boom. Come on, get over here. Boss, you want to start retelling the situation here for us?
Oh, well, Philippe was driving, as he's one to do, and, well, we heard something weird off in the distance, figured we'd go on a little joyride. Thought it might be that big fucker from Grey Ridge, and it was. Well, Philippe stuck him to the tree, which was pretty amazing, if I do say so myself. He was the one that talked, and I know that sounds weird, and I'd have a head wound, so you probably don't believe me, but I was trying to get footage of it. The camera blew up, and right as we were about to kill the big guy, I took an arrow to the side from someone that, I figured we were going to roll in and save the day for. So, no good deed, I guess. And the arrow in and of itself, I believe, is why I had a little misfire with the grenade.
All right, yeah. Flapjack mentioned that. We've got people out here. Inez is on the search. We haven't found anyone else. We did find Philippe.
I'm afraid to ask.
We had to put him down. He had turned. He was still half there. Didn't have any lower body, but the upper half was still moving.
I get another swig of that moonshine, please.
Flapjack kind of steps over and hands you his bottle. Yeah, you just keep that.
Yeah, thanks. We'll do something when we get back to the Citadel for Philippe. In honor of him, because you guys should have seen him drive that truck. It was glorious.
We're gonna find who did this, and we're gonna take care of him. Don't you worry. Meanwhile, you need to rest up. I'm not even sure if you're out of the woods yet. I'm gonna be real honest. And he's like cutting your jacket away, and he puts Flapjack's belt back in your mouth, and starts peeling off this leather, and there's this wet, sticky layer of skin that peels off with the majority of it, and you are going to need to make me a resist pain, or you're going to end up screaming in agony.
Do I have any difficulty with that or anything?
I'm going to allow you to make it straight, but only because of the moonshine.
All right.
You still have 4 degrees of failure. Do you want to do anything about that? Can you do anything about that, I guess, is the question.
Oh, what does 1 degree of failure look like for me?
It's gonna let you remain conscious, but you're still gonna be in an immense amount of pain, and you're probably gonna scream.
All right, so I only have 4 competency points left. I will go ahead and make it a wash if that will keep me from screaming.
It will. You're going to feel it. There's no way around it. So you definitely are going to clutch back this immense, overwhelming agony. So you bite through this leather of this belt, and it falls out of your mouth, and you have a mouthful of leather. And the jacket comes off, and immediately Isaiah begins taking care of your wounds and wrapping you up, putting a burn gel across your body that's made from an aloe that they have produced themselves. And he's trying to keep everything wet and covered so that you don't get an infection. And does that, wraps you up with a number of bandages and begins taking care of you. You, throughout the entire time, Rowan, stay conscious. And everybody within your unit recognizes that as a real show of exactly what sort of badass you are.
You know what, man? And she does keep taking swigs of the moonshine in between. She's like, I should just let me die. That'll save me from having to rock this terrible comb over for the rest of the time. Did you see this? I don't got no ear left.
Yeah, and so you kind of lean back, and Isaiah looks to you and is like, yeah, you should just breathe deep, boss. You did really well today.
Thank you. You all did too. Cheers.
It's at that point that a radio bursts to life on the truck behind you.
Number one. Calling number one. We've got a problem. Number one. Pick up number one. This is a red light district. We need to evac ASAP. Number one, do you copy?
Immediately, Isaiah looks to you.
Yeah.
Isaiah walks over, making sure the bottle's in your hand, and you hear what he says over the radio. All right, yeah, this is number one. We copy you, number two, but let's go ahead and light up those claymores. Let's try to divert this horde. Let's make us an escape route. We're going to be heading back. Let's push them all down the path. Inders think they can have this little yellow brick. Fuck them. Let's fill it with the dead. And he hangs up from the radio, the CB radio.
I agree with that, man. Rowan just kind of says out loud to whoever's standing around, let's light this place up.
And if any of those rag and bone are still out there, they're not going to make it through the night. You can be pretty confident they're dead in the water.
Now, see, I know you say that, but I'm pretty sure that they're pretty confident that I'm dead in the water too right now. So let's not count our chickens before they hatch.
I actually believe that you're going to give them one hell of a surprise one of these days.
Whew, I can't wait to see the look on their faces. Shit, are we almost out of moonshine? Damn.
Assuming that they're going to have that opportunity. Like I said, I don't think they're going to make it out of here. Either way, we're pulling up stakes. You good with that, boss?
Yeah. Let's roll out and get back.
All right. Isaiah turns. A number of the Citadel folks start pulling back, and you see some very controlled, fairly quiet gunfire erupts in the woods a little distance off, and you hear radios crackling to life as communication starts happening. The vehicles rev back up, and many of them turn and start moving down the pathway. Everyone else, so that is Achira and Juniper, I'd like for you to make a spot listen check, please. Okay, that is 4 degrees of failure. Achira, that's 3 degrees of failure. Does anyone wish to alter those results?
I mean, no. I mean, Achira already saw the horde and how far they were away. I mean, I would want to do a different action than doing a further spot listen at this point.
Oh,
So
okay,
I'm
the spot listen is a free action. It doesn't cost you anything. It just allows you to be aware of what's happening around you.
I think I'm gonna just keep it, unless it makes me die. I don't know. That's always that's always a fun gamble.
I'm gonna keep it because I'm not 100% sure. I just know that I know where they are from where I am.
Yeah. So I'll just open up the veil here and let you know that what you're missing is that the Citadel is pulling back. You're not aware of that right now. So if that's something that you are concerned about, that is something that you would have to adjust your failure to be able to spot. You're about to find out something else regardless of what you choose to do.
I'm gonna keep it because technically Juniper doesn't know the Citadel is there anyway.
It's true. It's true. You just knew that there were lights over there.
Yeah.
And you don't really know who it is or what it's about.
Right.
I'm only concerned about my own survival. I don't care about them. So
fair. So there is a moment later. There are a series of explosions that are further down the rail line, as large explosives are set off, and Achira, it's in the direction that you were moving.
I am not moving in that direction anymore. Then I am opposite direction. In fact,
you're going back the way that you had come, then back north.
Well, as we established like earlier, Chira goes high when there is danger. So, I mean, I would do an in the tree kind of situation. So, sure, I can move away from the noise since I haven't been spotted and none of the Romeros know that I'm there because of the previous role. But eventually her intention is to get high, get quiet, which is what she just does.
All right. You can make a climb check, and I will give you a single degree of success on that to start with. It is dark. The smoke has abated. Your ears have reacclimated themselves and are no longer ringing. You're aware of almost everything around you, and those explosions immediately start drawing the attention of the dead. The Romeros, many of them, are making their way down the rail tracks towards the sound of those shockwaves that are still reverberating forward. Someone is intentionally diverting this horde. And you have 2 degrees of success on your climb. It makes it 3 degrees in total. So you very handily climb up a tree and begin making your way in another direction. If you're going to start leaping from tree to tree, let me know. But at the moment, you are secure and away from the horde.
What would leaping from tree to tree be like?
You would
like,
have
what would that roll be?
A jump leap. And given the...
You know what? I look at my stats on that and I'm good.
All right. So you will not be leaping from tree to tree. You will be staying put in the single tree that you have climbed up, but you are very high up. You do see the horde moving beneath you, but right now it's like churning water as you see the Romeros turning and moving towards the explosions. And then as you get higher in the tree, you see many of the vehicles from the Citadel turning and driving away. And you can see from where those explosions are occurring that this is a diversion to allow them an escape path.
Is it possible with her up in the tree to do a first aid check for herself?
Yes. You can make a first aid check. I will give you 1 black dice of difficulty given your position, but you can roll normally otherwise.
I thought I had a thing. Yeah, I do have a first aid. Okay, great.
I'll come back to you to resolve that. Juniper, what is it that you would like to do as you are looking out? You see these explosions in the far distance. You're further back in the forest than Achira is. You're further away from the rail line. You see a number of these very, very intentionally placed explosions drawing the dead in a certain direction. What do you do?
I want to wait until I see all of the Romeros go away from where we are. Hopefully they just follow that sound and leave us alone. Once we are clear, I would motion to Digger to let's get down and go the opposite way from that noise. Just find an alternate route, I guess. Because ultimately, Juniper would want to keep doing. Wait, does she know about? I'm trying to remember when I turned into Olive. Does Juniper know that we're going to the yellow brick thing?
Yeah, you knew all of that. The last thing you remember is bringing water back to camp.
Yes, okay.
And everything else kind of becomes blurry after that.
Got it. So my ultimate goal would be to find another roundabout way to get to that campsite, since I think that Lampwick's there and the twins are there, and that's kind of my end game. So, but I would wait for the horde to go and to watch for them to be clear first.
All right. So you're going to stay put. You're going to try to ride this out as the dead are moving now. You can see that they're being directed by these explosions. If you are trying to move in a direction that is directly away from the dead, that will require you to move in the direction that you came, because given where the explosions have been placed, it is effectively the pathway that the Citadel is using to escape from this area.
Mm-hmm.
If you stay where you're at and you want to stay in this tree for an extended period of time, there is a chance that the horde may abate and leave. So your choice is to stay in the tree.
Yeah. Yep, sure thing. I mean,
all right, no, that's a fair choice. I just want to make sure that I am certain about what your choice is, because it will have effects on what happens next.
Yes. Okay. I do that.
All right. So with that said, Juniper's choice has been made. Rowan, you're on the back of this truck, and sure enough, Inez comes back, having scoured the area, and leaps onto the back of the flatbed, careful not to jar or jolt you in any way. You're actually sitting up. Your back is leaning to the bed of the truck, and you're in the open air. You've been wrapped up, and there are some very quick first aid patches that have been placed over you, and they're already seeping through. You can see a yellow, pussy pool forming across many of these patches, as you know your wounds are already beginning to weep. And you're in an immense amount of pain. However, the moonshine is gone, and you are covered with a somewhat thankful, numb feeling. It doesn't entirely remove your pain, but it does help somewhat, slightly, to sort of lessen the amount of pain that you are in. Now, as you're lying there, Inez returns and very carefully leaps onto the back of the open bed truck alongside you. And she's got a burnt blanket with her. And immediately she opens it, and you see the burnt remains of your VHS camcorder, utterly wrecked, but maybe the tape is still inside and all right. Additionally, there are a couple of ragged pieces of both knapsack equipment and a selection of clamshell VHS tapes.
Oh, that is a very good find. Well then, we are going to have a watch party when we get back. I think that is in order, as long as I am still conscious. But very well done.
You remember what you told us about that Kusanagi guy, right?
I told you a lot about him. Which part in particular? He's quite an incredible individual.
Well, his notebooks are pretty clear. but isn't this where he got all that information? And she opens one of the clamshells and points to the scratching on the inside of the clamshell tape. And you can see on the outside of one of the tapes, it says, "Be kind, rewind."
Well, shit, it might be.
They didn't take it with them.
Well, I mean, a lot of us barely are lucky to walk away from that. Did you find that in something? Like, did he leave that behind?
It was scattered. It looked like maybe the bag was dumped out. But most of it was buried. I don't know that I got all of them, but I got quite a few. Most of them, it looks like, made it. Some of them are burnt, but, you know, I don't know if this is going to help us find that location or not, but it's going to be a lot easier with these than it's going to be relying on just Kusanagi's notes.
Yeah, that's for damn sure. Really well done.
You got it, boss. I'm just glad you're still with us. That was a shit show. I'm surprised you're still here.
I am too, to be honest with you. We make a good team. Good job.
The truck at this point has spinned around, and you're kind of watching the fire as you're rumbling. I mean, it's a rail track, and this is an off-road truck with these chained wheels, and your body is shaking, and with every bump, another shock of pain works its way through you. However, the truck stops. Everything's quiet for a moment. You're on the outside of it, so you don't hear anything on the inside. The door opens and you hear Isaiah. "Boss, I know you're in a poorly way, so I'm not going to make this too difficult. I'm going to take care of this, but we've got a bogey on the track."
Oh. Is there anything you recommend? Do you need my help shooting it from afar? Watch it from the back?
We've got scopes on it already. We're ready to fire. It's just standing there. It's a woman. She's dressed in all white.
Oh, you should definitely kill that thing.
You heard the boss. Light her up! Gunfire erupts in the darkness. Rattling automatic rifles. Boss, do you want to take a look at this? Is this what you were talking about?
Oh, by the sounds of it, no, I don't want to take a look at it, but I will. And she'll peek up over the top.
Lying on the ground is a woman. She's perhaps 50 feet away. The lights from the truck and the other vehicles are shining on her, and the entire unit is standing there. They all have heavy automatic white rifles pointed down the barrel of this rail line, and they have lit this figure with gunfire. She is heavily pelted peppered with gunshot wounds. And there is a very weak black blotch where each of these bullets have entered, but no blood. No sign of heavy wounds. And she's lying there. But what seems to have caused all of them to stop for a moment is the fact that she pulls herself up and slowly stands. Over her head is a veil of white. And she reaches behind her back. And pulls forth what looks like a severed head. And holds it out in presentation to all of you. It's dripping. The veil has fallen off of this woman, and you now see her face. Under this network of tousled hair, straggly like vines growing out from a swampy tree, is a pale, almost porcelain-like face that ends at the bottom half. The skin of her lips and chin have been peeled away, and there are jagged protrusions like knives where her mouth once was. Her hands have been pierced, and there are sharpened, pole-like knife protrusions on the tip of each of her split fingers. You recognize in the light of the truck the head of Aria Cantos. And you recognize the face of this thing as the woman Abigail that had once traveled with Achira and Juniper.
Ooh. That is ugly. Unless one of y'all are about to propose to her, I suggest we get the hell out of here. That white dress is creeping me out, and not as much as the knife teeth, but we should leave.
Yeah, we can't go backward. I say we go through her.
I will climb in there with you if that is all right. I do not want to deal with the aftermath of splatter in my open wounds.
Did I say fire? I think I said fire. Keep shooting her, boys. And you hear more gunfire, and they continue to pelt her, and she jolts like a rag doll standing there. Large chunks of flesh are blown off, but you also hear something else like metal. And every time she gets hit, you hear the clunking of a bullet striking steel. And you don't think that's just bone and flesh underneath that skin any longer, because she stands there and withstands every single shot that's made at her. While she jerks and jolts like a doll, she doesn't fall again. She drops the head and turns and starts walking away.
Oh, all right. I'm glad that you all saw that, because at this point I would just think that I had way too much moonshine. But you all witnessed that? Good. What the fuck?
One of your unit is carefully moving forward with the light towards the head. There is a crackle coming from it.
Do not be afraid. Do not fear. Salvation is at hand, my children. I would like to speak to whichever one of you is in charge.
Do you want me to take this one, boys?
Hold on. Isaiah steps out of the truck, and one of your unit has now gotten close to the head, and you see that they are pulling something off the back of it, and in their hand is a large radio that has batteries taped along the side of it, and sort of like drops the head, disgusted, and you can see a drip of gore around the radio.
Interesting delivery system.
You see from the lights Isaiah get closer to it and take the radio and walks it back to you. He's cleaning it off fiercely and then hands it to you through the open window.
She takes it and she looks at all of them, kind of grossed out at this thing, and like has it wrapped in what's left of her face mask, actually, that she was able to pick up off the ground, so she's not actually touching it still.
It's about the size of your hand, so you're able to do that. But there's a battery on the back of it that is the same makeshift battery that your people use, and you immediately recognize this as one of your radios.
Oh, it was nice of them to deliver our property back to us. And she'll click it and she'll be like, this is the head of this squad? Who am I talking to?
Blessings upon you, my child. I am Brother Noah Hayworth.
What can we do for you, Brother Hayworth?
And who do I have the pleasure of speaking to?
Oh, just a group of travelers in the area. Not anything important to you. Although I noticed you did manage to find this walkie of ours.
An unfortunate soul left it behind. We retrieved it, wanted to return it to the members of the Citadel. This is indeed a leader of that organization, is it not? The Citadel?
You've heard of us. That's sweet.
Well,
Yeah.
who hasn't?
Well, you have to forgive me. I don't rightly know exactly who you are. So
My works have very little consequence. It is the work of Father Malachi that matters. The prophet. You have surely seen his work.
Is that the thing in the little white dress I was just looking at?
The lady in white has been redeemed. Her salvation has come. We have given her new life. And she now is one of the blessed angels that helps us to cleanse this land of sin.
I see. And the head she had with her that was so delightfully carrying our radio. Who was that?
A wayward soul.
Right. Well, it's been lovely chatting. Is there anything I can do for you in particular, or were you just bringing my goods back to me? Because that's always appreciated.
Indeed, I wish to parlay. I have something of importance, I believe.
Well, should we parlay another day, my dear friend? Because I'm not really feeling up to it right now. I ran out of smoke, so gotta go back and get some.
If you wish to speak at a future date, I believe it will be too late. This conversation has been a long time in the making. And the Prophet has noticed the works of the Citadel. But specifically, I must ask you, before you leave this place, where is the woman known as Achira Sampson?
Whew, your guess is as good as mine. I'm guessing she's about to be annihilated by some very, very heavy C4 if she hadn't already. I went looking for her myself. I was hoping to bring her back to the Citadel, and has managed to escape into the woods along with some of her compatriots, who I am you know what? I'll offer you guys a reward. You bring me that one with that crooked smile. There's something in it for you. I'll tell you that much.
I'm sorry to say that we seek not material rewards. For us, our journey is fully spiritual.
Never met that side of the coin yet, but it sounds lovely.
I trust that the sinner Achira is not amongst your ranks and is not currently known to you.
Oh, she's not here. I know who she is, though, but no, she's not with us.
And did you find what she was carrying with her?
I didn't find anything, good sir. I'm not aware of what you're talking about. Did she have something of interest on her?
That is unfortunate. I was hoping to seek some form of trade. If I cannot convince you, perhaps Brother Lampwick can.
Lampwick. Why does that name sound so familiar to me?
Lampwick.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take this back a little ways. You're lying on the ground. The leaves are around you. The pulling of the rope creaks as the body of Ariokantos is pulled from that pit. And you hear something moving not far away. You can't pinpoint it. You don't know exactly where it is. You're still a little confused from your fall. You do know that there are a number of individuals around you, more than just the three that you've seen. You're covered in the slick, wet bile that was dumped upon you. What do you do?
I'm bound, aren't I?
Your arms have been bound at the wrist, and your feet have been bound at the ankle using very thick plastic zip ties, the kind that you haven't seen in quite a while.
I am going to open my eyes and look at what is making that sound. And I want to watch what it's doing.
See an enormous form. One of the twisted dead. An abomination like the kind that you saw at Grey Ridge. Its head covered underneath a burlap sack. Heavy gray muscles working, and a rotten, stale, musky sweat smell filling the air around you. The figure is wearing a tattered coverall that has been shredded and ill-kept. Additionally, standing in a half circle are these individuals wrapped in clean black cloth with white, featureless masks upon their face. There is a man here as well. And now, in the light of the torches and other illumination within this small tree grove that surrounds you in the place that rain had led you. You see him more clearly now, although he is still wreathed in heavy shadow. He is a man in his mid-50s. He has hair that comes down to the base of his neck and is neatly brushed back. He has a beard that has been neatly trimmed, and he's wearing clean black clothing and leather black gloves. Upon his chest is a silver medallion, a circle of metal. You cannot see what shape is embossed upon it, but you do see that it has something intricate carved onto it. He is praying, looking upward, talking to the air, whispering low. You do not hear what he says. You watch as Arya's body is pulled out by two more individuals wearing these white masks.
How far away from me is the man that's praying?
He is perhaps 50 feet away from you.
I am going to slowly roll over and start, if I can get up. My legs are bound. I'm going to roll over and get up on my knees and bring my hands up and in his direction, I'm going to pray as well. And I'm going to begin it by humming that song under my breath. And then close my eyes and pray.
With your eyes closed, you don't see how any of the individuals around you react, but you hear movement. And then you feel a hand upon your back, on your shoulder. And there is something large kneeling next to you. It reeks. You hear the ragged breath. And you hear other figures around you as they kneel. Do you caution a look to your right and your left?
I'm going to look to where that breathing is coming from, and I know what's there. My intention is to, with my look, give as much compassion and understanding towards this creature as I can muster, and continue to pray with this kneeling next to me.
Are you genuine?
Yeah.
Or this is real? This isn't a con. This is something that Lampwick actually feels. He realizes something in this moment as he looks about.
Yes.
Interesting. After everything that Lampwick has done, everything that Lampwick has lived through, there is something about the faith of these people and what they've accomplished that you look at and you see hope in.
I don't know. I don't know if I can call it hope just yet, but I feel like I have opened my eyes to something that I hadn't seen before.
I'm going to forego having you make any sort of persuade check. Because if this is genuine, I will be making a sense motive check, a detect motive check. You open your eyes and you just caution that look to your right. And you see this enormous creature. It's kneeling and praying right next to you. Its enormous barbed wire wrapped hands are pressed together before it, and its head is lowered. And it is imitating your position perfectly. Two of the white masked figures are behind you on either side. And before you, you see this man looking intently upon you.
I turn and look at him. And I just raise my hands up to him.
Brother Lampwick, I was prepared. I thought that I knew. You see, we do not choose from the flock without great consideration. We are careful about those that we pick. That is how we have remained in the shadow for so long. We have bided our time and have waited these many years for Father Malachi's words to come to true fruition. Do you know who we are?
I don't know what I know anymore. But I know that you must be something better than anything that I've met so far. And I would like to learn who you really are. And I would like for you to teach me who I really am.
He smiles broadly, and you see his teeth. They are golden. All of them have been capped, most likely from the world before. This warms my heart. As I said before, you and I are cut from the same cloth. The things that I did when I was in the world before are an abomination unlike anything that this world has to offer. This world offers us only the chance at salvation. This world is his garden. And all of us that remain, we are the hand of Malachi. And together, We spread his word. Do you know his word?
I don't know if I do, but I am ready to listen and to spread it and to do my part. I can learn.
I believe you can. We will turn that forked tongue of yours into a weapon of holy fire and brimstone. And together, Brother Lampwick, you will become one of his speakers, one of his great preachers. Like myself, I carry the word, but I do not believe that you know all that you need to quite yet. And though you profess, I question whether you will be willing to do the things that must be done to truly cleanse this land of sin.
Show me.
We are servants.
Yes, we are.
Do not matter. We are nothing. And the first thing, Brother Lampwick, that you must accept is that your life is forfeit. It does not matter any longer. All that matters, Brother Lampwick, is your soul. Your soul shall be cleansed in the fire, and your flesh shall be made strong. We have been given holy ascension here on this pit, and here among the sinners in the dirt of this land, we have been given a gift. And he slowly takes off his glove and he holds his palm out to you. And you, Lampwick, see something that you did not expect. On the palm of his hand is a symbol carved deeply into it, a scarification that is a circle with a single slash and cross within it. It is a strange glyph that you have never seen before. And within this campaign, only one other has seen it. She did not survive, however.
Is he holding his hand out to me?
He's holding it out before you. And then he turns towards the tree line and begins humming. And there's a rustle. And then you see them. The Romero moving closer, but he does not turn. He does not run. He does not wince away in fear. He smiles as they begin to approach him. And he touches one across the face, gently, treating it like a beloved friend. The Romero does nothing but stands there. And then he turns back to you. Do you understand now, my child?
I think I do.
And that is where we will end our session tonight. Thank you for joining us. We will be back here every Tuesday, as always. Thank you for your time. Be safe out there.